In this demo, we will use ManageIQ to perform some cohesity operations using cohesity Ansible roles, which are published on Ansible Galaxy. All the operations that we do here can also be done using CloudForms, since ManageIQ is an upstream community project for CloudForms. Let's get started. The first step would be to add a repository that will contain some playbooks which we can run. To do that, click on Automation, Ansible, and Repositories. On this page, click on Configuration on the top, click on Add a new repository, give a name for the repo, enter the URL, select a credential if the repo is not public, and select the branch that you want to use, for example, master. If you want to specify a credential for a repo that is private, go to Automation, Ansible, and Credentials. This is where you can add credentials which can be used if we are using a private repo. In our example, we already have imported an Ansible repo called ManageIQ Ansible Demo, which has 9 playbooks. This is the GitHub repo that we have imported in ManageIQ. It contains all the playbooks that we want to use for this demo. For ManageIQ to know what roles to import, we have created a file called requirements.yaml under roles folder. All the roles mentioned here are either looked up on Ansible Galaxy or pulled from the GitHub repo that's mentioned here. To use the playbooks in ManageIQ, we need to create a catalog. Click on Services and click on Catalogs. Under the Catalogs item, you can see that we've already created a few catalogs. Click on one of them. It is using the playbook that is imported from the repo that we had imported in ManageIQ. It also uses a dialog box, which takes the input that will be passed to the Ansible playbook. To create a new catalog item, click on Configuration and add a new catalog item. Select Ansible Playbook from the drop-down. Select the repo and the playbook that you want to use. More information on how to create a catalog item and dialog can be found in the link given in the description. Once these catalog items are created, you can execute it using 2 ways. The first way is to order these under Service Catalogs. Select a catalog and click on Order to execute it. The other way to execute a catalog is using custom buttons that you can create on VMs, providers, and many other constructs in ManageIQ. To do this, click on Automation, Automate, and Customizations. Under the Buttons section, we have created a button group for a ManageIQ construct, which is provider in this case. You can either edit the button or add a new button group to a construct or create a new button inside the button group. In this case, we have created 4 buttons that is calling the Ansible playbook that we just created in the catalog items. More information on how to create the buttons and button groups can be found in the link given in the description. Now let's go ahead and run these buttons. Under Compute, select Infrastructure and click on Providers. Select one of the providers from here. We can see a button group that we had seen earlier. Before using one of the buttons, let's go to the cluster and verify that there are no sources registered. The job is empty. Let's go into Policy. Let's delete this policy since we will be creating one using ManageIQ. Let's get started. To register a source, click on Register Source under the button group. Fill in the details and click on Submit. In this case, this vCenter will be registered on the cohesity cluster. All the other details are hard-coded in the playbook for this demo. You can check the status under Services and Requests. Refresh this page and you can see that a new job is created, which is registering a source. It takes a few minutes for the job to be completed. Let's wait for it. Once the job is successfully executed, we can log into the cluster and verify that the source is registered. The next step would be creating a production policy. Go to Providers and click on Create Policy. Enter the details and click on Submit. All the other policy details are hard-coded in the playbook for this demo. Track the status. Go to Requests page and refresh it. You can see that a new job is created. Once it is completed, we can go to the cluster and refresh the policy page. We can see that the new policy is successfully created. The next step is to create a production job. Under Providers, click on Create a Job under the button group. Fill in the details, provide the source vCenter, and give a VM name that you want to protect. In this case, we have created a VM on the vCenter that was registered to the cluster in the previous step. Let's go ahead and submit this job. Go to the Requests page and refresh it. We can see that a new job is created. Let's wait for it. Once the job is successfully executed, we can log into the cluster and see if the job is created. We can see that the job is created and successful. Click on the job and click on Show VMs under Settings to verify that the right VM was protected. In the next step, we will delete this VM so that we can recover it using cohesity. To recover the VM, under ManageIQ, go to a provider and click on Restore VM. In this dialog box, enter the destination vCenter where you want to bring the VM up. Give a name for the restore job and give the name of the production job that was used to protect this VM. Enter the VM name and click on the Submit button. Go to the Requests page and refresh it. We can see that the job is successfully completed. To verify this, go to the Cohesity cluster and go under Recoveries tab. We can see that the job is created and successful. To verify it, let's go to the vCenter and see if the VM is recovered. We can see that the VM is present here. This concludes the demo. To visit the GitHub repo, please read the description or visit developer.cohesity.com. Thank you.